Hey, welcome back to the Seven Figure Flipping Podcast. This is Bill Allen. Today's podcast, I've got Jeffrey Lowe. I've got Tyler Jensen's project manager on the podcast today. And Tuesday, Tyler and I talked about this 7-day flip series that we're doing on YouTube. And today, Jeffrey and I dig into a little bit about how we met Tyler, about how to find good contractors, about the mindset, like how do you wrap your head around flipping a house in 7 days, like a full-blown renovation, $40,000 renovation in 7 days. And we talked a little bit about the TV show that we're launching on YouTube here on Monday, May 25th at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock Central. We're going to release it on YouTube. And I'm really excited for you guys to see it. And Jeffrey talks about that and what it means to him. And so this is going to be a great podcast if you're struggling to find contractors, if you're dealing with contractors, if you're trying to figure out, get inside the mind of a contractor, project manager, things like that. So we talk about a lot of that today. So without further ado, we'll roll the theme music and we'll get with Jeffrey Lowe and talk about the 7-day flip. Hey, everybody. We're here with Jeffrey Lowe. So you guys heard the podcast that I did with Tyler on Tuesday. We're talking about this 7-day flip TV series that we're putting out on YouTube about these guys. And Tyler talked about his project manager and the guy who runs the kind of the back end, all of these 7-day flips, all of these things that have happened in his business, and was a very big part of his growth. So I'm excited to talk to Jeffrey today and hear a little bit about his story, and also talk a little bit about what we're putting out on our YouTube channel coming up about this 7-day flip series. So we've got 11 to 12 episodes with these guys that you can go to YouTube and check it out. It's going to launch here just in a couple days. So we're excited. We're like leading up to this launch. So if you guys think about all these movies that come out, right? Think about a Marvel movie or Star Wars movie. You've got these actors and actresses that go around and they get on the talk shows, right? So I'm bringing these guys on my talk show, and we're going to hear about their story and what they're doing leading up to their premiere, their TV premiere on YouTube. So hopefully you guys are following along with us. You're going to check it out. But today I've got Jeffrey Lowe. Jeffrey, welcome. I'm really excited to talk to you and hear more about your story. So how are you doing today?
Best day ever, Bill. Thank you so much.
Best day ever.
I think today I mean it more than most days. It's actually a beautiful day here in sunny, gorgeous Utah.
Awesome. Well, we're going to talk about that phrase, best day ever, on this show, I'm sure. But before we do, why don't you tell a little bit about your story? Just tell everybody kind of who you are, what some of your background is.
Okay, cool. So we'll keep it a little simple just for the sake of people who don't know me, which is going to be most of these people, I think. So my name is Jeffrey Lowe. I'm a contractor that works in Ogden, Utah. I ended up meeting Tyler through just the job that he ended up hiring me for through like a friend of a friend of a friend. And we just ended up doing this job for him. And as years go by, we progressed onto a few more things, and here we are a lot later, but about 3 years later. But predominantly, I was a contractor by trade for a long time, and eventually, after I had met Tyler, I'd gotten into doing more of the management side of everything too. So for the most part, though, nowadays I just kind of just make phone calls and drive around to look at things.
So you're making sure that stuff's getting done. Like, this is one of the most important things that we need, right? Is somebody who's actually making sure we got the right people, they're on the job site, they're getting it done. What about your background? Like, what about you? Like, tell a little bit about kind of your, I don't know, how'd you get into contracting, that kind of stuff? What was early life like for Jeffrey?
Oh, man. So early life like for Jeffrey was interesting, actually, because I went to school here in Utah, but I never graduated from college or went anything off of that. And so my evolution as a contractor actually started because my stuff started to break and I needed to fix it. And so, 18-year-old Jeffrey just needed to fix his stuff. And so as time went on, I just learned more and more and more. And, I wanted a way to connect with people, and I wanted a way to provide for my family, and this was an easy way to learn a trade and connect with more people around me and earn a decent living at the same time. So I've been working as a contractor in many different fields for as long as I've had a job, probably like 20 years now.
Okay, so I think it's probably
But
something that I want to dive into. I think we have a little bit of delay. So it's something I want to dive into is kind of like how do you find good contractors? So like, what is that? Because there's probably a lot of people that are listening. I haven't brought on somebody's project manager on the podcast before. We haven't dug into some of these things. So I think that's one of the big issues that a lot of house flippers have is finding contractors and hiring them and kind of leading them to go the direction that they want to go, right?
Yeah, and so this is funny. I was actually talking about this with a member of the group yesterday, Tanya. We've been talking through Marco Polo groups for a few weeks now, and she actually posed me the same question just yesterday. It was like, we're looking to add some handyman, I think is what she called, somebody who's going to be like a generally full-time employee for their company. And she's like, we've got a few different candidates. How do we pick somebody who's going to be the best for our team? And how do we determine, if they're going to be a good contractor for us? And so there's two different aspects. And I think I'm actually paraphrasing something you said when we were on the cruise. Anyways, hire the person, not the job first. So if somebody's standing in front of you and you're considering them for employment, chances are they already meet the generic skill set that you need. Otherwise, you wouldn't have screened them there, right? So they probably can do the job, so to speak. But ask yourself the question whether or not they are the human being that you want a part of your life, right? Do they fit your core values? Are they moving the same direction that you're going? Can you tolerate them? If you're going to have to work with somebody every single day for the next however long, or if you're going to build a part of your business with them, you have to make sure that they tolerate you as an individual, that they align with who you are as core values, that you look forward to working with them. Hire the person, the individual. If we focus on that, you're going to have an easier time finding the people that you want to connect with. The logistics of actually finding contractors are sometimes easier, like go to your phone book or Google or get on Facebook groups or, talk to other contractors. Making the actual initial connection is easy. But finding somebody is based off of how we discern who they are as a person. Can you connect with them? Are they somebody that you want to do business with?
Okay, so I totally agree with that 100%. So you're right. The interesting thing is everybody seems to be looking for where do I find them? How do I get them? I've gone through 5 or 6 of them and they haven't been good. And I think what they're doing a lot of times, and we talk about ownership so much, is and I saw this as I was preparing these videos, right? This first episode, the second episode. So we're going through, we're almost done the 3rd episode. So we're working through these 3 episodes with you guys. Nice. And what I see is I see the way that you guys are talking about who you're working with, who's on the team, yourselves, some of the struggles and some of the issues that you've had. And it's not playing the blame game and pointing the finger. It's about Tyler talks a lot in the first episode about how he was having trouble with contractors. Him and his wife, Letitia, both were talking about that. Contractors were a huge issue. And what they weren't saying all the contractors are bad, we can't find a good one. They were saying, I had to work on myself. I had to work on how I was treating them, how I was talking to them, what we were doing, how could we motivate them to and lead them to do the things that they want to do to help our business. And so I saw that in him, and then I saw it in you as you were talking about some of the contractors that were on the job site and things. And I think that's the most important thing to think about. And it's not necessarily the silver bullet of go to Home Depot at 6 a.m. and talk to a bunch of people, get all the referrals. Yeah. There's all those tips and tricks, right? But I think it all comes back to what you just said, where it's, find somebody that you get along with, that you want to work with, that fits your core values. And then the skill sets and things they're dedicated, they're excited to come to work. They're proud of what they do. However you move your business along, what I found is if I can get the right people around me, then it's up to me to make sure that I give them the tools, the skill sets, I give them the path to success. And a lot of times when someone fails at the job role, it's typically my fault. Either I hired the wrong person, or I didn't give them what they needed along the way, and I was expecting them to just figure it out on their own. And I ended up failing them every time. Obviously, sometimes they come in and don't do what they're supposed to be doing, but ultimately it's my fault. I picked the wrong person. I put them in the job role that they're probably not the right fit for. And I just heard something recently is, if you have the wrong person in the company or in the seat, every single day that you go by that you don't let them go or take them out of that seat, you're robbing them of days that they could be doing something that they really absolutely love and should be doing.
Yeah, and you're robbing yourself of that same potential too. Like, imagine the right person in that position. You could go so much further.
So when you and Tyler started working together, was it like perfect right out the gate? What was that like?
So, it's funny, like if you were to look at me and Tyler as like a team, just from like the outside in, and you didn't see the history, it would be kind of a funny match. Me and Tyler come from worlds apart, like on social level, I guess. But that just goes to show, like how important like core values are too, and to how you can work with somebody as a team. Just because we're like worlds apart socially does not mean that we don't have the exact same core values of what we want to get out of our lives and we get out of business. We prioritize our family. We prioritize connecting with the people that work with us, and we prioritize doing quality work and continuously improving. And so these things were an easy fit, but first off, working with Tyler, it was a very contractual basis. Like, hey, I've got a job for you, do this thing. And then I did the thing, right? And so we went on for that for a few months, and as we started to progress, I realized, I'm like, wow, this guy's really intelligent. And he's always, the thing that really struck me about Tyler is that he was always trying to give me something. He was always trying to find something to improve my business, or to improve what I was doing, to improve my process, or to he helped me move the needle in my business to the next level too, so I could kind of scale up to where I wanted to get to. And once I realized that he was always proactively trying to improve what I was doing, I was like, yeah, this is the guy I want to work with, because that's exactly how I wanted to run my business too. I'm like, I want to find quality people and propel them forward to the best thing that to their highest level of potential. So was it a perfect fit off the bat? Yeah, but it wasn't the fit that you see now. Like this has been an evolution process, as I'm sure you've seen for yourself in your own business too. Like, even if you like harmonize perfectly with somebody right off the bat, the relationships get built. They aren't born. Relationships are built over time. And sometimes we forget that. And when relationships fail, it's usually because we failed to do the work to help build them, and then they fall apart. And so that's one thing that's always brought me and Tyler together, is that we believe in continuous improvement. And so if we fail somewhere, and we've had those moments, we've had those real critical conversations, as I'm sure you know, where we may object to something that the other person is doing, and we have to get real in that moment. We realize that we missed the mark, we failed here. But that's we go all the way back to square one: continuous improvement. Like, I don't promise to be perfect. I just promise to always be pursuing perfection. And that's all that we can really expect out of all of us.
I think that's awesome. You said relationships are built, not born. I really like that, because a lot of times we want to just come out of the gate swinging and rolling. And so you guys were kind of working up. So he gave you this thing, you did the thing, you must have done it well, right? So, and then from there, it was the next thing, and then the next thing, and then it kind of grew. And it sounds like it was more of an organic growth and gradual kind of increase in responsibility and different things along the way. So what was that timeline like? How long did that take?
To where I've been working with Tyler now for 2 years, I think. But we progressed really quickly from the traditional, like, contractual basis. It was about 3 months. So Tyler brought me in. I did a few jobs for him. I think it was his parents' house. He had bought a house for his parents, and he was flipping this house. And he had gotten screwed over by this contractor. This guy came in and did some terrible work. I think he ended up losing some money. He like, anyways, it was bad. So I ended up coming in and finishing this job for him. And he's like, hey, you did a good job. You came through for me. Thank you so much. Here's another one, right? That job went well. We did another one. And after a while, Ty was like, I want to scale up my business. I want to go to the next level. I've got big plans. I want to do 40 houses this year. But at that point, it was like, can you help me do this? Let's take your business to the next level. Let's get to a higher scope here. So I think it was around 3 months. We had done a few projects at that point.
So 3 months in, and he was trying to grow, right? And you saw some opportunity there too for you to grow with him. And so something there must have been, what compelled you to say yes? Was it the fact that he was really driven? Was it his vision? Was it like, what was it? Because I feel like I've had people do the same thing with me.
What really compelled me is that he was kind of driving me. So like going back to what I had said earlier, you've known Tyler for a little while, so you probably already know this about him, but he is always trying to find a way to improve the people around him. And so really he was pulling me forward. He's like, Jeff, look, this is the potential. Here's where we can go. And I'm like, these are things that I wanted too, a lot of them were just basic, like financial goals, part of the reason why we get into this business is because we want to provide for our families and we need to make money, and this is the craft that we're good at. And so a lot of these things were just like, he was pulling me forward, like, look, we have this potential here, and you can do this with me. And so I saw that he had the tools and he also had the desire, tools and desire is one thing, but without execution, you have nothing. You can have all the skill in the world, you can have all the intelligence in the world, but if you can't get off your ass in the morning and actually do the thing and execute, then nothing gets done. Good for you and your smart brain, But, and I saw that he had that capacity, he was willing to do the work, he was willing to execute, and he was willing to invest in me as well too. So I was like, all right, we're going to do this thing. There's potential here.
Okay. So then you guys jumped in, you started doing more deals together, and this idea of the 7-day flip came, right? So obviously we talk a lot about the backstory of this in the TV show that we've put together, about like how this came about, some of the struggles and mindsets, blocks that we had between you and him and his wife and all these other people that were on the team, and trying to figure out like how to do this, right? So starting with the how, instead of seeing that, okay, it's possible, then we back up and say, how are we going to do it? It's almost like a lot of times what we do is we want to figure out the how before we see the fact that it's possible, right? So so maybe let's just touch on that a little bit. And it doesn't have to be the 7-day flip thing, but like, why do you think people all the time try to like, they struggle to do this, to move forward that way?
I think it boils down to one word: faith. So when we have ourselves here and we've got something that we want over here, there's this version of us that is going to possess that new thing. And we are not that new version yet. And so we have to place a goal in front of ourselves without any scope or understanding of how to get there, right? And that thing that's going to bridge that gap is faith. The belief that even though we don't know how, even though there is no vision, even though we are not that person yet, you are not capable of having that thing yet. You have not grown into the individual who deserves it or who is capable of reaching out and grabbing it. So I think a lot of people fail to bridge that gap because they don't have faith. They don't have faith in themselves, or whatever it is that you choose to have faith in. However, for me, bridging that gap is believing in myself. Is take that thing, put it out in front of you, and before you know how, insist that it's possible. This world is a gift for us. We are meant to be here. If I put that thing in front of myself, then that means that I must be somehow capable of achieving it. So have faith, believe that you are capable of doing that thing that you've put in front of yourself. That is what's going to bridge that gap. That's what's going to draw you forward to grow, to be the person who's capable of achieving that or capable of reaching out and grabbing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you nailed it right there, because, there's an interesting thing between like potential and belief. So,
Oh yeah.
we have this unlimited potential, or virtually unlimited potential, right? And so, but a lot of times we don't
Hmm.
believe that. Like, we don't think that we can do things that are, I mean, if you wanted to go out and run 40 or 50 miles today, you could probably do it. Like, it would be in your head to stop. Like, your body
Yep.
can probably handle that kind of pain and struggle. It might take a long time, but you could probably do it. And what happens is our mind is what holds us back a lot of times. And it's
Yep.
the fact that we
Have you
don't
ever done
actually,
distance running?
I've done some relay races, like 200-mile relays and stuff. I've run a couple
Oh wow.
marathons, but I've never done
Yep.
an ultra, like a 50 miler or a 100 miler, like some of my friends and my cousins do. But it's always kind of been there. But I'll tell you what, at the end of 26 miles,
Yep.
I'm about dead. And
I've
at
done a
18,
few
I kind of hit the
marathons
wall.
myself, so
It's a
I
challenge,
can I
right?
can totally I can totally relate. And have you ever seen somebody actually hit the wall before, like
Oh yeah.
the runner's wall? Right. I've seen it before too. But what's crazy is that the majority of runners never get there. So that goes to explain, like what you were saying, you could go further, right? It's the belief in yourself and the insistence of execution that gets you there. Your body is capable of. We do have that huge potential.
It's really interesting when you talk about that, because it's right around like 18 to 20 miles is usually when I feel like that's when my low is, at the 26 at the marathon race, right? But if I was running an
Yep.
ultra, like a 50 miler, it would probably be somewhere around 38 or 40 miles, I bet. So, and
Hmm.
when I hit that 18 to 20 mile, the interesting thing is when I hit 26 miles and I have the 0.2 left, like the adrenaline kicks in, you get, and I can run faster then than I do at the first 2 miles. Like, what I've seen
Yep.
is nothing matters at that point. You feel this like, you can see the finish line. It's there. It's possible. So it's probably like in these 7-day flips, when you get to day 3, you're like, oh man, we have so far to go. And then day 5, you're like, I can see the finish line. We can do it. Let's pick it up. So I'm interested to watch that unfold on the show. There's a quote that I want to share that came to me as you were talking.
Day 6 is the day. Go ahead.
Day 6. So, okay, day 6 is the 7-day flip wall
Sorry.
for
Yeah.
everybody. So the quote was, set
Yeah. Day
goals. So
6 is the 7-day flip wall.
we got a delay. This is fun. So the quote that I want to share is, set goals so big that you have to grow into the person who can achieve them.
Yeah.
So set goals so big that you can grow into the person who can achieve it. And that's as you were talking, I'm sitting here like scribbling that down, because it's exactly what you're talking about. A lot of times we want to become that person before we go do the thing, right? Instead of figuring out what that thing is, and then figure out how do we become the person who can achieve that. And I think that's dead on this 7-day flip structure, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of funny because I think Tyler actually shared that quote with me when he was originally trying to pitch me on doing the 7-day flips. Because I mean, I guess maybe I'll give you a little. We won't go into it too much, but when he originally came to me, he's like, "Hey, can we flip a house in 7 days?" I was like, "No, no way, we can't do this." And I let the idea stick in my brain for a little while. And after about a week, I come back. I'm like, you know what? I think we can. And he's like, he shared that same quote with me. He's like, set something bigger. We can grow into doing this. I don't think we're necessarily capable of doing it right now, but like, let's set ourselves a goal, and we can grow to get that. We can grow to achieve it. And through that process, we became better individuals, and we became stronger. And we learned a lot about ourselves too. A lot of mistakes and a lot of successes too. I think we learn we learn more from our mistakes than we do the success anyway too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the success is easy to just kind of, I don't know. I don't right now. The struggle that I have now is I feel like I'm constantly looking at the mistakes and issues and challenges and things like that for me. And that's all I think about and talk about is what's wrong,
It's
especially with
because
everybody.
you're a military man.
Yeah, that's probably part of it. But I think some of it is the fact that now we're just constantly trying to get better and evolving and things like that. And
Mm,
the success is just part of the journey for me. And what I think a lot of entrepreneurs and people who think like the way that we're talking about right now is we have to look back and actually revel in some of the success too. Like, you have to actually say, okay, like, look what we did. This is amazing. Otherwise, what happens is you just get sucked into all the changes and tweaks that need to be made on a nonstop basis. and not thinking about like the good things that are happening along the way. So with me, I feel like my whole week is fixing problems and issues and removing barriers and helping and just basically dealing with problems. And what that does is it kind of infects me, right? Instead of allowing me to remember that, hey, we had this huge win, like good job team, great job. So you have to be conscious of that and really look back and say, you have to, I have to be conscious of it. And I think a lot of us do, because we're constantly then striving for like the next level of something. So when we hit that, it's like not good enough and we're constantly looking for the next thing. So I think that's one thing that we have to be cautious of when we're really pushing the envelope on a regular basis, like over and over and over again, is looking back and saying that. But I agree, the mistakes that you made, the issues that come up, those are the things like that's the stuff that you learn from probably the most.
Absolutely. And, you know, honestly, Bill, I was talking about this with my girlfriend, Mary, actually the other day. That's one thing that I've always loved about this group is that people are not afraid to share their mistakes. You know, those things are incredibly important and we should share them. You know, I mean, screw your pride for a minute. Let's bring those things to each other, you know, so that way you can learn from the mistakes too. You know, because I had this mistake, right? But just because I did does not mean that you have to. You know, let me bring that to you so that you may learn from it as well. I was reading about this thing called the creation cycle, right? And it made me think, what you were just saying made me think about that, how you have a tendency to get really focused into learning from your mistakes and focusing on that area, right? But it is really important to have to come back to reveling in that success, right? Because that is part of the reason why we do the thing that we do, right? So the creation cycle is do, have, be, right? So we have to do the thing, then we have the thing, but sometimes we forget to just exist, to just be in the thing, right? Do, have, be, right? That's how we create something. We do the thing, then we have the thing, but we can't forget just be in that thing for a minute, you know? Relish in the fact that now you have that thing that you were set to achieve. There must have been a reason why you set that goal, right? What is it that you wanted to have, right? For me, the be is I want to have the freedom to be with my friends and family. Now that's why I invest into myself, into my business, so I can work hard, provide for our basic needs, go home with something to be proud about, and then have that freedom to be in the presence of my loving kids, my girlfriend, you know, and my friends, and live that life, you know, do, have, be. You know, we need to be in that moment every once in a while. Otherwise we forget why we're doing, and the having of the things has a tendency to lack depth and meaning, you know, and we struggle, you know, like, I mean, I'm sure you know what it feels like when you spend all day focusing on putting out fires and problem solving. You know, it's exhausting. Your day doesn't feel like, oh man, I put out fires all day. Then I went home and like, did I get anything done? It didn't feel good, you know, because you didn't be in the moment, you know, we are relish in that moment.
Yeah, I think that's pretty profound because when you sit back and look at it, you're right. There's days where I'm putting out fires and dealing with issues. Then you go home to your family is all of it's for, right? This is what it's all for. This is where you want to be, and you're beaten down. You're like, you're in a bad mood. You're struggling, all that stuff, and that's for me. That's the problem. So, and that's where I should be like really fired up and amped up and excited to be home and be spending time. So I think all that comes down to the fact that like do the things that fuel you up too. Like figure out how you structure your business, your day, your life to make sure that you're fueling yourself up.
Absolutely, you know, and do something that you're passionate about, because like if you can't get excited about what you're doing, then you're not going to motivate yourself very hard to actually do it.
Yep. And I'll tell you what, I am extremely motivated about this TV show that we've created with you guys. And I'm sure that Tyler has told you probably how excited I am.
I'm so excited. It's going to be great.
How pumped up I am, how amazing I think it's going to be, you know, after seeing the first and second, third episode that we've created here. I'm really proud of what we've put together. So I think I don't want to give too much away, right? But you guys were renovating 4 houses. So 4 houses in 7 days. And that's what we sent somebody out. I sent Andre, our videographer, out to follow you guys around. build out this kind of almost like a documentary. So it's going to be somewhere around 11 or 12 episodes. We're going to air it on Monday nights on YouTube. And starting, you guys are listening to this on Thursday. We're going to air it on Monday, May 25th, 8 o'clock Central. It'll go as a premiere. So it'll be like, you can open up your TV, you can turn your TV on the YouTube channel. You can find us on Seven Figure Flipping, and you can watch it with us. We'll all be watching it, commenting in there, talking about it. And then on Thursday, let's see, that's the 28th. We'll be on YouTube Live with me and Tyler, kind of going through it and talking about it and answering all your questions that you posted on Monday, all that stuff. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So what do you think? Are you excited about it?
It's going to be super cool. Honestly, this is kind of a dream come true. So really, Bill, I'm like super grateful that you actually put in this effort to make this happen. It's really cool. You know, honestly, I'd never kind of dreamed it possible. So, well, I'm gonna squirrel just a little bit, but going back one thing further, before, when I first started working with Tyler, I had written down in my own goal book, I had set myself a goal that was bigger than anything I knew how to achieve, is that I wanted to learn how to flip houses at that next level. And then I meet this guy who was willing to teach me everything that I wanted to know. And I was like, wow, that's so cool. And so then I started to learn things. And then I wrote down another goal, like I wanted to teach people. I want to bring these lessons to other people. I'm like, well, how do we do that? You know? And so this is a lot of like a dream come true for me, because we are taking the things that we learned, our successes and our failures, and we're bringing it to more people in a bigger way than I honestly had any capable of doing. I mean, I would not be capable of producing the kind of material that you guys were able to do. Andre doesn't so already, and it looks really cool. Like it looks legit, man. So I'm really excited to see how it come out, you know. And like we've done, this is our fourth 7-day flip that we've done here. And, you know, we have a method that works, and we've replicated it, and we've been able to bring it to other people that didn't invent it. You know, we taught other contractors how to do this, you know, and we show how to do this in the show. And it's just really exciting that we're able to take this thing, this highest expression of efficiency in the house flip, and now we can bring it to a whole bunch of other people. There are people all over the country now who can benefit from what we're doing, you know, and this is really cool. That's super cool for me. So really, Bill, I'm humbled and grateful that you're able to bring this, and I'm really excited to see like how people are gonna capture that and what gets done with it. My big dream is that by the end of the year, we see people all over the country in our group. We're already working towards that, you know, and so that's kind of exciting. That would be like the biggest thing for me, is if we can get more people in our group to do their own, you know, and to see it work. That would be really cool.
Yeah, it's I would say I'm not capable of doing it either. Fortunately, I have a great team around me to be able to put something like this together. I can say, hey, let's make these changes or this change or drop something in here. But the videographer and his team that we have on our staff is absolutely amazing. I mean, I thought this was going to be a couple episodes. We'd put it together, we'd roll it out. But now that I see it, it's amazing. Like 11 or 12 episodes. It's like almost like a whole season of TV shows, right? And so I can't wait. I'm excited. I can't wait to see what you guys think after the first episode, get some feedback, go live with Tyler on Thursday of next week to talk about it and see, you know, what kind of what it does. You're right. It's incredible to be able to, it's one thing to do it and talk about it. It's another thing to basically show other people how to do it and see their success, because that's what it is. If you watch this, you should be able to say, okay, this is possible. I can do it. I'm watching these guys do it. It's right there, like step by step, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, like you're actually seeing them do it. Some of the things that they're using, some of the techniques and skills. And so I'm really pumped up, and I think it's going to motivate a lot of people to say what's next, what's possible. And the more people that can get their hands on this, even if it's not like flipping a house in 7 days, it just shows you that anything's possible, right? It can change anybody's mindset. I actually screened it. So I was watching with me, Becca and I were watching it, and there was somebody there, one of Becca's friends, who doesn't know anything about house flipping, doesn't know anything. And so
God, I love Becca.
I was like, it's perfect for him to watch it with us, right? And so I was making some adjustments to the first episode, and at the end I said, what did you think? He goes, I thought it was awesome. I would watch this. Like I'm gonna watch it. He's like, I don't really care about flipping houses or watch these shows or know anything about it, but I want to watch it. Like, I think it's really cool. So I'm involved. I'm excited to see the second episode. So that was my goal and my dream, is like, how do we figure out how to pull people in to our world to show them behind the curtain, even if it's not something that they want to do, but hopefully it takes it and it motivates him to say, what else is possible in his business? Like, he's an entrepreneur, he runs a company. So what could they do that's more efficient? What are some things that they can put in place? So that's what I'm excited about.
That's pretty cool. Something you actually just said, helping other people bridge that gap. So like, if you're gonna take a route where you're the first person to ever do it, it's gonna be harder, right? It's gonna be, if you're the first person to ever do the thing, right? Like, we're the first people, as far as I know, do 7-day flipping on this scale, right? So we were the first guys to kind of standardize that and do it on this scale. It was really hard. We had some hard lessons, right? But now we can take that and we can bridge that belief gap, that gap that I was talking about, that faith, right? That's going to help you bridge that gap of that next level for yourself, right? We can help bring that to other people now, where you can say, look, you can set a goal that's way bigger than yourself. It is possible. And the function of how you get there, like the logistics, the techniques, that kind of stuff, some of those things can be practically really helpful too. But the biggest thing that's going to get you closer to execution, to actually executing, right? Because how you get it done doesn't really matter. There are an infinite world of ways to flip a house and the different techniques, and I'm sure there's other ways to do it in 7 days too, but it's that belief, that capacity to bridge that gap that's going to be most important, because no matter what the techniques or to get off the couch and try, nothing's going to ever happen. 7 days or 10 days or whatever, right? Even if you watch this show, I really hope that people watch this show and they don't feel compelled to do a 7-day flip themselves. I hope that they watch the show and capture some knowledge. And if they want to do the 7-day flip, sure. But if they want to just apply these techniques to their own business and just move forward a little bit, maybe take 30 days and turn it into 14, or maybe take 6 months and turn it into 2 months, great. But take that belief, like what you just said, help people bridge that gap, Becca's friend, he's not going to go out and flip a house, but maybe how we interacted with other contractors and moved the needle in his own business, figure out like how he can bridge that gap for his big lofty goal,
Yep. All right. Let's leave.
It's killing me.
I know. Let's leave him with that. So we've got an incredible show. I hope you guys hang out. I hope you guys come watch it on Tuesday or watch it on Monday night with us, and then come show up on Thursday, or drop some comments in the YouTube channel on Monday night. We'll answer them on Thursday, Tyler and I live. And then I'm sure Jeffrey will come on live with me one of the Thursdays. We'll bring him in, Tyler and Jeffrey. I'll be asking him questions. And that's like the true talk show after that, right? So Monday night, we've got the live event. And then Thursday, we'll be doing our talk show, our live, let's dive in deeper to the episode. Like, what did we miss out? What do you guys have more questions about? All that stuff. So I'm pumped up about it. This will be the last show that you guys hear before we drop it on YouTube on the premiere, Monday night, 8 p.m. And go to the 7-Figure Flipping YouTube channel. We'll drop the link to the channel in the show notes here, in the description. If you're on your iTunes or podcast app, if you're on Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, any of those places, we'll drop them in the link there. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you turn on the little bell so you get alerts when we drop a new episode and when we go live. And we'll see you guys there. Jeffrey, thanks so much for hanging out with me. I had a good time. And I will see you very, very soon. And it's like I see you every day right now, because I'm creating these episodes. I'm watching the footage, all that stuff. So it's like we see each other every day. So thanks for hanging out with us today, man. I appreciate it.
You've been listening to the 7-Figure Flipping Podcast. If you've enjoyed the show, go to Apple Podcasts to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. If you're ready to learn the house flipping and wholesaling strategies that are working right now in today's market, check out 7figureflipping.com.